I wasn't planning to do a video today, hence why I haven't got the selfie stick. But I was on the drive here over to Crestbrook Dale, bringing Kobe for a walk, and just thought I should just jump on and share a bit. I took a lot of heat actually from the last video I uploaded, where I was talking about my potatoes, my crop of potatoes. And I took a bit of heat because people were saying to me, why aren't you talking about the next lockdown? Why aren't you talking about the next wave of the pandemic that they're trying to push through? I have noticed that my videos are not getting quite as many viewers as they used to. So I thought, well, maybe if I call this video the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, maybe it might boost my viewing figures a little bit. So I was trying to think on the way here, what are the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse? As I'm talking about that, Kobe stopped to do a poo, so I'm going to have to just tidy that up, deal with a little bit more shit. I've been dealing with a lot of shit lately, but I've got 5 sons, the oldest of which is 27, so as a mother, I've been dealing with shit for 27 years now. I'm double tasking now. And of course, Kobe dealing with his shit as well on top of everything else, because obviously my boys deal with their own shit these days. Anyway, so the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. I was trying to remember what they are, because I haven't read Revelation for a long time. And I can remember war, famine, and pestilence, and I'm trying to remember the 4th. So if you can remember the 4th Horseman of the Apocalypse, or it may indeed be the 1st Horseman of the Apocalypse, the 2nd or the 3rd, maybe put it in the comments below. What is the Horseman of the Apocalypse that I've missed out? Because of course it's very difficult to talk. For example, it's difficult to talk about famine, for example, when you are doing a video showing how many amazing potatoes you can grow just in a 50p bucket, just by planting a couple of potatoes that have gone to seed. You've already experienced that, right? Where you've left potatoes in the pantry a bit too long and they start sprouting. I used to throw them away or break off all of the roots and peel them, or throw them away if they'd gone too far. So I thought, no, I'm going to plant them. So I just got a bucket, planted a couple, watered them for a few months, and hey presto, I've got a bucket full of potatoes, my crop, which I felt was pretty amazing, and I was pretty proud of it, and actually they tasted delicious as well. So this is the thing, isn't it, that when you start tuning into nature and abundance and growing stuff and learning how to forage and walking through, for example, land like this, and instead of just seeing things as weeds, realising, oh my God, I could put that in a green juice. That's pretty liberating, isn't it? Oh, look. Here we go. This is a little mint plant, which apparently mint keeps away rats. Did you know that? So Steve, who was here, he's like, bring me mint. Bring me some mint plants. So that is a surviving mint plant. He also asked for jasmine as well. He loves jasmine. So we planted that out, but the jasmine seems to have either been transplanted into someone's back garden, but hopefully jasmine is somewhere growing up someone's wall, or it might be somewhere in the undergrowth, and so we're hoping jasmine will take root and continue to flourish. So the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Yeah, so this is the thing, isn't it? I guess I could place a lot of energy into what's coming and what's being planned and the next lockdown, or I could just share with you my personal position on whatever's coming is I don't consent. Sorry. Whoever these people are and whatever they're planning, they have no authority over me, and I do not consent. I do not consent to wearing a mask. I do not consent to being locked down. I do not consent to availing myself of an experimental procedure. I will simply use it as another opportunity to fully stand in my common law rights as a free woman of the land and simply say no. It's a bit of the end of the conversation there, really, isn't it? Now, of course, standing in that strong no, obviously there's going to be people who don't like that, the people who think they have authority over you, the people who think that their rules and regulations, just because they happen to be forced through by a totalitarian government somewhere, have any kind of lawful power. They don't, because no one can take away our sovereign rights without our consent. So that's why I do not consent. It's such a magical and powerful little phrase, those little 4 words. I do not consent. Could add a 5th word, no, to that. No, I do not consent. And it really is that simple. So that's why common law principles are so liberating. They're so liberating because basically no one can take those common law rights away from you unless you consent to it. So I do not consent will break that spell very effectively. And yes, of course, the authorities may not like it and may attempt to force you, may attempt to even impose some kind of arrest over you or some criminal charges, maybe even for not complying with their rules and regulations. And in that case, if that were to happen to you, then there is another very simple remedy, which is I do not understand. I am exercising my right to remain silent. I require a trial by jury. And this is one of the really key things which no one is taught, but many people are discovering, that a trial by jury, 12 free men and women of the land who are independent of the situation, coming together to hear all the evidence. In coming to their verdict, they're not just deciding on the guilt or otherwise of the person, they are also able to come to a verdict on the legislation under which that person has come to court. What that means is the people have the ultimate power to overturn any legislation that an unscrupulous government has pushed through, has used its majority and its MK Ultra PSYOP techniques, whatever way they managed to bulldoze it through. A trial by jury has the power to disregard any legislation in coming to its verdict, and it's a process called jury nullification. There's some very interesting historic trials by jury. William Penn is perhaps the most famous, and he was the Quaker who stood in his right to meet with people to come together in their Quaker faith. The king decided that that was not allowed, so William Penn demanded a trial by jury, and he went on to sail to America, and he founded Pennsylvania. And it's well worth listening to the trial by jury of William Penn, just so you get an idea of how that original way of ensuring the common law was upheld was asserted by William Penn. Because of course, I'm going to change hands now because I haven't got my selfie stick. Of course, there's many workshops on common law and trainings on this, that and the other, but there's nothing quite like actually implementing it in practice, in a real life situation or a real life scenario. It's one thing to kind of know the theory, but it's quite another to stand in that power in a real life situation, whether you're dealing with the police or any other kind of authorities who would attempt to assert their authority over you and would attempt to violate your common law rights. So I didn't quite know where this video was going to go when I started filming 12 minutes ago. So I personally, I'm not going to focus my energy on feeding the problem and the lockdowns and the hoo-has and the whatever they're gonna do next to us, because I know that they have no authority. I know they have no power to do that. So me personally, I will continue to pour my energy into solutions. I will continue to be the living example of what it means to stand in common law rights, to stand strong in the face of the authorities, also to grow my own vegetables in the smallest little way. I still do go to Aldi and Co-op to get stuff, don't get me wrong, but increasingly I'm noticing the more I open into this idea of abundance, the more I am learning about foraging, the more I'm learning about gardening, the more natural abundance is showing up for me. Bev's a great example of that. Bev, in our stand in the park, constantly every week bringing me kale and lettuces and green beans. It's beautiful. And the tree in my garden, my son has been picking all of the plums, and so I've been making plum crumble, been pureeing it up and freezing it. Yeah, as I say, growing mint and squash and potatoes, and really tuning in to abundance, because when we focus all of our energy on things like peace and health and vitality and abundance, we're not so frightened about those 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And I'm still trying to wonder what the 4th one is. But if you can remember, put it in the comments below. But even better, if you can remember, maybe put your solution in the comments below. Sending you lots of love. Bye for now. Proof. I just got home and the lady from over the road just gave me a marrow. So that's dinner sorted.